And welcome to another very interesting case. This patient actually found me through YouTube. So if you're watching, you know who you are. Thank you very much for allowing me to use your case because it is very interesting. But what we have here is a very long chunk of dead skin, plug of dead skin in the ear canal. And the background to this case is that this patient had a couple of ear infections last year, which were treated, but ever since those infections, he felt like something was wrong, his ear didn't feel right, the hearing was down. And we can see why, because essentially the ear canal is absolutely filled with this desquamated material. And, you know, judging by the case history and judging by how it looks, because it is basically 95% dead skin, I think it's fair to assume that it's the infections that have caused this debris. Now, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about this desquamation meaning shedding of dead skin, I'll link you down to another video below where I talk about it in detail, where I'm removing, again, another very dense plug of dead skin. But, I mean, the gist of it is, when you have a bad infection which is causing pain, maybe discharge, maybe there's a bit of bleeding and so on, and this is what I'm going to tell you is a kind of general rule for the skin all over your body, but essentially, you may have tissue damage. And, you know, during the inflammation process, when your body is fighting the infection, and, you know, typically acute otitis externa is a bacterial infection of the outer ear. When your body's fighting the infection, there will be several cells responsible for secreting a special type of molecule called a growth factor. So, for example, white blood cells that rush to the area known as macrophages. A macrophage is a white blood cell that can eat things. So it'll eat bacteria and engulf, you know, bits of dead cell and so on and so forth. These macrophages are capable of secreting growth factor. And you'll have growth factor, these special molecules in the tissue. So you'll have transforming growth factor alpha and beta. You'll have epidermal growth factor. And these are special molecules which can stimulate the surrounding tissue to divide and regenerate. So what you have is when this gentleman's had the ear infection, twice I would add, there's been a rapid cell turnover. So the cells that, you know, the skin cells that are in his ear canal have, you know, obviously been shed, but then their new skin cells are coming up through the ranks very quickly, and then there's this sort of intense shedding of dead skin as more skin cells are made and so on and so forth. And you know, that's essentially what we've ended up with. We've ended up with this very, very long mass of dead skin that has just not had time to migrate out. So because it's happened very quickly, it's just kind of backed up and it's just kind of stuck in there. And now you can see with the suction probe, I'm just about wiggling it out. And there we have this huge sheath of desquamated debris. Some people call it keratinous debris because you know, the skin cells in the upper layer of skin, the epidermis, are sometimes called keratinocytes or keratinocytes. And that's because the cells fill with this special protein called keratin when they're kind of reaching the end of